Hi, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for joining us for our webinar series entitled Promoting Good Mentoring in Science Careers. We're going to wait a few minutes more to allow any other persons who want to attend to dial in, and I'll talk to you in a few minutes. So I want to thank everyone for joining our webinar on promoting good mentoring in science careers. The agenda for today's meeting will be first an overview of mentoring, followed by the phases of mentoring. Then we'll go into existing mentoring programs offered by a few of our FASEB societies and through the FASEB's Office of Diversity. And finally, we're going to briefly look at a few external resources for mentoring. I would like to thank or welcome Dr. Ida Chow, who is the Executive Officer at the Society for Developmental Biology, and Dr. Teresa Ramirez, Program Officer in the Office of Sponsored Programs, Diversity and Grants Administration, and the Office of Public Affairs here at FASEB. And me, I am Dr. Anna Roberts-Pilgrim. I am a Science Policy Fellow here at FASEB, as well as a postdoctoral researcher at NICHD. I would also like to thank Dr. Sheena Miche, Senior Director of Advanced Research Technologies and Associate Professor at the Department of Pathology at NYU Langone Health, and she is a member of the Association of Biomolecular Research Facilities. Dr. Catherine Fry, Director of Education at American Society for Pharmacology and Experimental Therapeutics, and Ms. Brooke Bruthers, Senior Program Manager of Diversity Programs at the American Physiological Society. And I'd like to thank them for providing information on their societies and mentoring programs. Also, the slides from this presentation will be posted at this website within 3 to 5 days at the address on the screen. At the end of the seminar, we will have a brief question and answer period, and if you would like to ask a question, please type it in the questions box at the bottom of your screen and to the right. It's indicated by a dark blue arrow, and then press the gray send button indicated by the light blue arrow. Okay, so let's begin. We are the Federation of American Societies for Experimental Biology, comprised of 30 member societies and representing over 130,000 biological and biomedical researchers. Our mission is to advance health and welfare by promoting progress and education in biological and biomedical sciences through service to our member societies and collaborative advocacy. So here's the symbols for all of our 30 member societies whose support and collaboration are essential to FASEB's work, and we thank them for their membership. Okay, so we want to begin our webinar on promoting good mentorship in science careers with an overview of mentoring. And I just want to say, I know that most of you are either mentees or mentors or facilitate the mentoring relationship. However, there are some persons that are exploring the topic for the first time, and I feel that the benefits of mentoring can never be overstated. The idea of mentoring is commonly accepted as a relational art between two people. Well, this leaves those with poor social and relational skills unable to receive full benefit, and many of those are scientists like me. However, mentoring is also a science and can be approached as a subject that can be taught and learned. So this makes the idea of mentoring valid across all groups of people, useful, and with measurable metrics for success. Groups that benefit most from mentoring, but by no means the only groups, are underrepresented groups such as women, African Americans, Latinos, and LGBT groups, or groups that originate from different countries or are disadvantaged socioeconomically. These groups generally feel that they are different from others within an organization and cannot break through the social barriers for entry or success. Mentoring holds the hands of these individuals and assists with matriculation into the organization, organizational culture, field, or career. How do these groups benefit? So mentoring provides valuable career advice to mentees, and they're taught how to navigate the organization's landscape and culture. They also learn important skill sets needed to progress to their career goals and soft skills needed to compete. It also provides social and emotional support and provides networking opportunities. What does the mentor get out of the relationship? So they receive satisfaction through the ability to share knowledge in a different way, more one-on-one or in a small group setting versus through a classroom. And they learn to gain an understanding of different backgrounds and thought processes, which is very good in combating inherent biases. They also attract good students and stay on top of their field. They increase their professional network, and they learn fresh approaches to different situations. And altruistically, they contribute to the science community at large. And the mentor, in this capacity, can demonstrate a tangible commitment to making the scientific field more diverse. So we like that. Okay, so let's move on to the 4 phases of mentoring, which is the meat of this webinar. A mentoring relationship has great plasticity. And as your career changes, your mentoring relationships change as well because your need changes, your needs change. Your roles can also change at any point in time, and a person can act both as a mentor and a mentee concurrently. And that's really how life goes. So let's dive in. Although the stages of mentoring are sometimes referred to by different names, these are the general processes at each stage. So first is selection and preparation. So this is the discovery phase where the mentee reflects on their needs and chooses to connect with a potential mentor. Further relationship fit is determined between both parties. So the next phase would be alignment and negotiation, which is the business phase of the relationship. This is where the mentee and mentor set learning goals and expectations. Third, we have cultivation and enabling growth, which is the work phase where the mentor provides support and feedback while the mentee works through his or her goals. And finally, coming to closure, or coming to a close. This is the assessment stage where both parties assess the progress and value of the mentoring relationship and move forward. So let's go into each of these phases into more detail. The first phase, mutual selection, begins before an actual meeting takes place. The mentee begins to evaluate what they need in order to succeed in the field. However, often a mentee may not know all they need for success, but understands the importance of seeking help or advice. They look to put their trust in someone who they feel would have the expertise to get them to the next level of their career. Mentees will also be evaluating the type of mentorship they want. Mentorship relationships can change from one-on-one mentoring to group mentoring, team mentoring, or even e-mentoring. The decision, however, is based on what is more comfortable for the mentee, or sometimes just simply what is available. Following this, the mentee would reach out to a mentoring group or person to ask for guidance. So just before we move on, it's important here to note the difference between a mentor and an advisor. So an advisor, which we are most familiar with, may or may not be a mentor depending on the quality of the relationship. Although the goal of both is to provide advice, mentoring goes beyond advising because a personal relationship is formed, in addition to a professional one, okay? So during mentorship, trust, honesty, and mutual respect are key. This doesn't mean, however, that the mentor and mentee have to be best friends, but sometimes it works out that way. So both parties evaluate the proposed needs and try to determine, whether they're a good fit. They ask questions such as, what am I looking to get out of this relationship? What's the expertise I need or have in this area, and do I have time to put into achieving these goals? Good mentoring relationships require time to develop and has a low probability of success if the time is not put into it. Additionally, both parties are also evaluating whether he or she thinks the relationship will be successful. A mentor doesn't want to put time into a mentee who is not committed to the process, just as a mentee doesn't want to waste time with a mentor that is aloof. Cautiously, this consideration can inadvertently be fraught with inherent bias, and it is important that the mentor be open-minded about the views and the opinions of the mentee and be sensitive to the differences in cultural norms. For the relationship to grow, good communication is important. So mannerisms like making eye contact, showing enthusiasm, and being authentic help to build a good foundation for the relationship. Along with this, successful mentoring rapport incorporates self-reflection, self-awareness, and realistic expectations. If both parties agree to enter into a mentor-mentee relationship, discussions considering frequency of meetings, level of engagement, and confidentiality should be discussed to prevent uneven expectations and tension. So once mutual selection has successfully been accomplished, the business phase of mentoring can begin. During goal alignment, which is the second phase, in an educational setting, the mentor and mentee work together to formulate milestones which lead to the mentee's goal. This may include courses that should be taken or groups that should be joined, or even meetings that should be attended. In a professional setting, this can look like earning certificates or licensing, learning new techniques, or even brushing up on soft skills. However, setting realistic goals and appropriate milestones will be a big determining factor of the relationship's success. It is important to be trustworthy and open for the mentee to receive the greatest benefits from the mentor. The mentor should seek to challenge and educate the mentee to accomplish their endpoint. Good goal setting can be achieved through careful and active listening, nurturing self-sufficiency, being constructive, avoiding overbearing behaviors, and establishing protected time together. Honesty about goals and the comfort levels in achieving them will also need to be expressed by the mentee. For example, a mentee may have a difficult time in groups, so finding alternative avenues for meeting the goals that were set forth should be discussed and thought out. However, for any of these points to work, it requires that both parties are behaving in a trustworthy and open way, feeling free to admit ignorance or blunders, and to work out ways around the issues. So the goal alignment phase will seek to challenge the mentee and educate them in a way that is encouraging and useful, helping them to come out of their comfort zones and push a little further beyond what they know. This stage will be continually revisited as the milestones are met and new milestones or goals are made. With that said, it is also not unusual to have more than one mentor to set goals with. No single mentor knows everything that a mentee will need to succeed. Having multiple mentors with various talents, ages, and personalities will serve to give a more complete view of the possibilities of their career path. This supports a facet of mentoring that is to assist in building a community around the mentee to help them succeed throughout their career, instead of creating a fully dependent relationship. So let's go on to the third phase, the growth phase, where the mentee's drive is most evident. The mentor gives support, encouragement, and honest feedback as the mentee tackles the milestones that had been decided upon in the previous stage. So mentors inspire the mentee through positive language and encouragement, connecting them with others in their field for additional help, and assist in keeping them on track for achieving goals. It is imperative that the mentee provides feedback. The assumption that no news is good news can allow problems to grow to a critical level. Mentees frequently stumble on problems that they have not foreseen or are not accustomed to dealing with, but being able to talk through these issues with a mentor helps them troubleshoot and problem solve. Doing this is easy when it refers to a technical problem that can be solved with small adjustments. However, relational problems are much more difficult to solve. Unwittingly, a mentee may get drawn into a bad situation. Many times, these are exacerbated by inherent biases by the parties involved. These issues cannot be ignored, but need to be addressed carefully and thoughtfully, while teaching the mentee how to resolve these problems by themselves in the future. It will also teach the mentee what resources are available to effectively deal with unsavory issues. Additionally, relational issues can also derail progress for achieving goals. Helping a mentee stay on track is done by meeting consistently and helping to find alternative methodologies. Because a mentee is encouraged to have multiple mentors, it's not unusual for a mentee to not adhere to all the advice given by a mentor. Non-adherence may also be due to changes in circumstances and accessibility and simply availability. This should not be seen as dissent, but it should be openly discussed between both parties. So mentorship in the sciences is intended to build a relationship based on trust and respect, build community, and guide career choices. And we just saw how that can be done effectively in the first three phases of mentoring. But mentoring relationships have the potential to last a lifetime, but are really not intended to be ongoing. However, most mentoring relationships come to a close eventually. During this last phase, called the closing phase, mentors and mentees have honest discussions evaluating how they did in setting and meeting their goals and where both parties see the relationship moving from this point forward. Both parties assess the progress that has been made by asking questions such as, how did we do? Were the goals we set realistic? Were the goals challenging to meet? Could we have done something differently? Did our goals encompass all we wanted to learn? Or did we broaden our circle? The mentor evaluates their effectiveness in identifying the mentee's goals, evaluating their understandings and talents, and whether they were effective in building on them. They also are evaluating their effectiveness in giving mentees ownership of their work and promoting accountability. They consider how well they encourage growth through challenges and created an environment in which mentees feel safe to fail and learn from their mistakes. The mentee, on the other hand, evaluates their effectiveness. The mentee evaluates whether they had taken advantage of opportunities presented by the mentor or mentors, whether they showed initiative and followed through in fulfilling milestones towards the goal, and how open they were with asking questions for clarification and discussing obstacles and solutions. After so much time and energy invested in the relationship, many mentors and mentees like to keep in touch. Frequency of contact is based on whatever is comfortable and realistic. Some people choose once a year with a Christmas card, a meeting every 6 months, or even a bi-monthly phone call. So that concludes the four phases of mentoring, of the mentoring relationship, and how it begins through how it ends. So we're going to switch gears a little bit and find out more about the programs offered by our member societies and through our FASEB Diversity Office, better known to most of you as the MARC program. So we will begin with Dr. Ida Chow, who is with the Society for Developmental Biology, to tell us about the mentoring programs that she has.
Good afternoon. Today I'm going to cover two mentoring programs of the Society for Developmental Biology. They are the Choose Development and the Bootcamp for New Faculty. This first slide will show our program called Choose Development, which is a summer research program, and it was founded in 2013 with the goal of increasing the diversity of undergraduates who enter doctoral programs and go on to research careers in developmental biology. It's open to U.S. and Canadian citizens and permanent residents who are from groups underrepresented in the sciences, as well as students with disabilities. We match undergraduates to STV member labs, and they're supported by a mentoring team that includes the principal investigator and an advanced graduate student or postdoc. The top two pictures on the left show two of our fellows with their mentoring teams. All mentors attend a mentor workshop before the summer where they learn about successful mentoring strategies, conflict resolution, building trust, and creating both a challenging and supportive environment. Fellows conduct 10 weeks of research and receive a $4,000 stipend. Then, the following summer, they present their research at the STV annual meeting. The STV annual meeting is where we shine a spotlight on the fellows, and they have the opportunity to really be a part of the larger developmental biology community. They also sometimes get to meet Nobel laureates, such as Eric Wischhaus, pictured on the bottom, the picture in the bottom left. Some fellows return for additional summers in either the same lab or a different lab. Of the 29 undergraduate students who have gone through the program, 19 have graduated from college. Of these, 78% are still in science or medicine, and half of them are in graduate school. And I'm happy to report that one of our Choose Development alumni is the first trainee representative on the STB Board of Directors. You can learn more about the program at stvonline.org/choose_development. But you can just go to the website and search for it. Applications for summer 2019 for both fellows and mentors will open in October. Since 2006, STB has held a biannual bootcamp for new faculty in conjunction with our annual meetings. It is open to pre-tenure faculty and advanced graduate students, advanced postdocs about to enter their first faculty position. STB membership is required to attend. Most recruits, as we call them, do receive travel grants. The 1.5-day workshop teaches best practice for teaching, including active learning techniques, along with mentoring, curriculum design, and grant writing. Recruits also have facilitated discussions on lab management, implicit biases, and the process of navigating the university system in both research-intensive and primarily undergraduate institutions. Finally, recruits choose 2 lab rotations where they learn a little bit about a model organism or developmental biology technique of interest. The goal is that they are able to incorporate these organisms or techniques in a teaching lab or potentially their own lab. As of this past summer, 135 recruits have gone through this boot camp. And pictured on the top left is the 2018 platoon with the trainees and drill sergeants. And on the bottom are recruits from previous years in their lab sessions. This year, we conducted a survey of past participants to assess which modules were most useful. 100% of the respondents are still in academia. And no, we didn't get 100% of people who were sent the email respond. But of those who responded, all of them are still in academia. Of those, 70% found the active learning module to be very useful and extremely useful. And 91% of respondents found the mentoring module very useful or extremely useful. The next bootcamp for new faculty will be held in Chicago in 2020. And you can learn more about the bootcamp by going to our website as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chow. That was very informative, and it really shows the strength of mentoring programs. So we also want to look at programs offered through the American Physiological Society. They have two great mentoring programs there through their Women in Physiology Committee, or WIP Committee. This committee seeks to promote excellence in mentoring with the administration of the Bodell M. Schmidt-Nielsen Distinguished Mentor and Scientist Award to provide mentoring support, resources, and guidance to trainees in physiology, both male and female, might I add, and administer the Caroline Sudden Francis Hillebrand Professional Opportunity Award. They also seek to promote and raise the visibility of female physiologists across all career stages, and to highlight and promote the success of female physiologists, as well as to promote their committee activities through their publication, The Physiologist. Finally, the committee seeks to coordinate activities with other committees on women within the FASEB organization and those of other scientific societies. So the first mentoring program, the Online Mentoring Forum, shares topics chosen by women in the Women in Physiology Committee that are geared towards mid-career scientists, but are also relevant to postdoctoral fellows as well. These resources focus on career development and mentoring issues such as career planning and career choices and planning, mentoring, of course, professional networking, presenting research, both speaking and writing, job search interviews, managing a lab and lab personnel, advice on teaching, advancement and promotion, and something we all struggle with, balancing career and family. The forum also publishes its articles bi-monthly in their periodical, The Physiologist, and online in their mentoring blogs, and the link can be seen on this slide. So their second program, the Mentoring Symposia, takes place at APS's annual meeting at Experimental Biology, and it has a primary focus on graduate students and trainees. So during the joint trainee hour, concurrent career mentoring and trainee sessions are used to equip graduate students and trainees with the tools needed to navigate their field. As mentioned in their mission, the WIP Committee also encourages mentoring relationships through the distribution of the Bodell Schmidt-Nielsen Distinguished Mentor and Scientist Award, as I had mentioned earlier, but also the A. Clifford Barger Underrepresented Minority Mentorship Award. So we'll look at our third society, the Association of Biomolecular Resource Facilities, or ABRF, and their mentoring programs. It is dedicated to advancing core and research biotechnology laboratories through research, communication, and education. They have over 900 scientist members representing 340 core laboratories in academic research, industry, and government from 41 countries. In 2016, a membership survey demonstrated unanimous support to establish a mentoring program. The ABRF Career Development Committee mentoring program was created in response in partnership with the National Research Mentoring Network, or NRMN, which most people know it by, and expertise from a range of research academic programs that emphasize the benefits and challenges of diversity, inclusion, and culture within mentoring relationships, and more broadly, the research workforce. The ABRF mentoring program was created to be flexible for any mentee to establish a mentorship to meet his or her own goals, and includes an individual development plan, which is a great resource for anyone who is at a point in their career where they need to sort of figure out where to go next. It's also called an IDP. You might have heard it referred to as an IDP. And so the mentee creates this with a focus on goals for the mentoring relationship. And the ABRF program also includes a training workshop for both mentees and mentors. So they also use their lessons learned for further refinements to their 2018 program, and included lengthening of the program to 6 months and free selection of mentors using the NRMN ABRF My Mentor portal. So finally, the ABRF mentoring program has a unique track within NRMN with outcomes from 2 cohorts of matched mentors and mentees that show significant value, whether local or remote pairings, group mentoring, and across the ABRF mentorship with core scientists, directors, and administrators. So I would also like to draw your attention to one of our other society programs through the American Society for Pharmacology and Experimental Therapeutics, affectionately known as ASPET. They have a mentoring network that uses a coaching model which complements campus-based mentoring. It's a year-long program that begins at their yearly experimental biology meeting with in-person mentor-mentee meetings. And virtual group meetings and individual coaching continue throughout the year. It pairs senior and mid-career faculty with grad students and postdocs, and it's a really great student-to-teacher ratio of 4 coaches with 6 trainees. So they focus mostly on diversity and emphasize professional development for success that is applicable to diverse scientific careers. So they will begin their 4th cohort at the 2019 EB. And they have found through surveys that many of the mentoring relationships that are formed at this in this program at this meeting continue well beyond the 1-year mark. So their second program, Partnering for Success, is a peer mentoring program at EB, that is also at EB. It's organized by Aspect's Young Scientists Committee. It pairs postdoc mentors this time with grad student mentees, and they are put in touch before the meeting actually begins so that at EB they can interact and help each other. It helps grad students better navigate the EB meeting, especially first-timers. We know that those meetings are huge and can be quite overwhelming, and so that goes a long way. And they plan to expand their program to undergraduates, which I could only imagine they would feel even more overwhelmed at such a large meeting. So their 3rd cohort will occur at the 2019 EB meeting. They pair up about 30 pairs a year, and through their survey feedback, they find that all the participants are highly satisfied. So now we will turn to FASEB's Office of Diversity, and Dr. Teresa Ramirez will discuss some of FASEB's.
Yes, thank you. So one of the mentoring models that the FASEB MARC programs has used at the experimental biology meeting, as well as at the annual Biomedical Research Conference for Minority Students, known as ABRCMS, is a structured mentoring model that is supported by the FASEB MARC Peer and Faculty Mentoring Network. These are the 2 meetings where we have seen the most impact from the students and the mentors. Through the evaluation of this activity, we have determined that this mentoring model inspires the next generation of STEM students as well as trainees to explore and pursue graduate education and integrate into the larger scientific community. The FASEB MARC Peer Mentoring Faculty Mentoring Program also encourages the exploration of diverse career pathways for scientists in the biomedical and clinical research workforce by building the mentees' confidence while they present their research as well as receive critical feedback from experts. It also develops the mentees' networking, communication, and other soft skills. And the primary benefit is that it enhances the mentees' overall scientific meeting experience. So our peer mentoring program really offers a lot of resources, not only for the students, but also for mentors on how to become better mentors.
Thank you, Teresa. That's wonderful. And thank you, Dr. Chow, for your program. It's very encouraging to see how many societies have taken on this task of mentoring to really broaden the scientific horizon. So we're going to change focus a little bit to mentoring resources outside of our societies, and it'll be a brief look. So the first external resource that might be useful to many people is the National Research Mentoring Network, or NRMN, and that is a tongue twister. The aim of NRMN is to utilize structured mentorship and networking experiences to enhance the training and career development of individuals from diverse backgrounds, communities, and cultures who are pursuing biomedical and behavioral research careers. It links highly knowledgeable and skilled mentors from various disciplines with talented, motivated, and diverse mentees from the undergraduate to early career faculty level. The next program is Entering Mentoring, and this program has been around for a little bit of time and is widely known in the mentoring community. And it's a great resource that incorporates mentee and mentor training programs designed to optimize the effectiveness of the mentor-mentee relationship. And it does an excellent job of anticipating the issues that can arise in these relationships and provide really practical ways to solve them. So it's a really great resource. Third, the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine has issued an initiative to determine the science or the measurable components of effective mentoring and identify evidence for successful mentoring programs. So their goal is to take that relational art and make it into a measurable metric for success. The initiative will issue a final report and interactive guide of effective programs and practices around fall of next year, so that will be interesting, and I invite everyone to look out for that. And finally, many institutions have a local or postdoctoral affairs office or association, which may also provide mentoring opportunities and resources. So that is a really good place to reach out to as well. So I want to thank everyone again for joining the FASEB webinar today. I also want to let everyone know that there are some resources that we posted online. One of them is the program outline for the ASPET coaching mentorship program. We have a handout there from Harvard School of Public Health on effective ways to mentor, both from a mentee and a mentor perspective. We also have the initiative from the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, which would be a great thing to look at and see if your society can take part in providing information to that. We also have an Excel spreadsheet, or a link to an Excel spreadsheet with all of the mentoring programs offered by all of our FASEB societies. So we would like to invite you to take a look at that. So now we will begin the question and answer portion of our webinar. And again, if you have any questions, type them in the question box and click the gray send button. and we will be happy to answer them. So it looks like we have a question here. Thank you for sending it. How do you suggest people go about identifying new mentors? That's a great question. Teresa, would you like to weigh in on that?
Yes. One suggestion or advice would be that, first of all, you have to look for mentors not only just within your discipline, but outside of your discipline. Someone that you can trust, and also build a relationship where whenever you receive feedback, it's not taken too personally, because you want to be able to learn from those criticism or feedback, as you want to call it. You also want to identify people who can provide you with resources, can guide you within your career, but also can be a friend and a colleague.
Dr. Chow.
Yes, like Teresa said, you don't have to have only one mentor. And depending on the stage of your career and your learning, you may want to have more than one and different ones at different stages. You do have a scientific advisor who sometimes may also work as a mentor, but many times you may want to get out, even out of your department, to find somebody to help you through your big picture career goals. And sometimes some universities will have in their student department, student office or postdoc office, somebody who can do that as well. And some societies and some entities have e-mentoring, and you can probably find out from your society. And I encourage all of you to find your home, your scientific home, which is one of the scientific societies, and that's where you will find people who like the same subjects as you're studying, and you will go to their meetings, and the personal meeting beats anything on the website or internet. So eye to eye, looking people in eye to eye will help you also decide whether that person matches or not your interest and has your interests at heart. Don't find somebody who only wants your data, except for your scientific advisor. The other mentors should help you on some of the other aspects.
Great, thank you so much. So we have another question here.
Will you email the link?
So
it's going to be available after.
It will be available 3 to 5 days after this webinar, and we do have all the resources on the website attached to the webinar as well. So that's great. So here's another question. We have heard about the benefits of having a scientific mentor external to the university, and a university mentor internal to the university. Can you recommend ways to support that dual mentor model?
Yeah,
that's a good question.
Yeah, I think through our various societies, especially because there's national conferences that offer a lot of professional development workshops as well as scientific seminars, that is a way to really be able to meet mentors outside of your institution. As I mentioned, through the FASEB Mark Pure Faculty Mentoring Program, that is something that we offer not only just to undergrad, but to graduate and professionals in order to be able to navigate a national conference, to take the best of how to make the best of it, and also how to network, because a lot of times networking can be daunting to a lot of people, and having that mentor that can guide you and show you how to navigate a conference is ideal, as well as teaching you or giving you feedback on your presentations. But I think attending these national conferences is the best way to get and meet new mentors.
Yeah, that's a great answer, Teresa. Also, getting involved in different clubs at your university or your institution, you meet a lot of people. There are also a lot of networking events that go on at an institution, and that helps you to branch out of your department, out of your field, and meet other people. And many mentoring relationships just start with a really good feeling from someone you spoke to at an event. And so it's a great jumping off point, and you can meet just a myriad of professionals that can offer advice and help for the future. Okay, so we have another question here. This webinar focused on mentoring programs organized through professional societies. What suggestions would the senior mentors among you have for improving the availability and institutional commitment to mentoring and the mentoring-rich environment at the level of the university? So, Dr. Chow.
Yes, I'm the oldest one here, or more senior. I think that some of the universities are already taking initiative in trying to get not only the more senior faculty, but a lot of the younger ones to work together with the senior faculty to bring mentoring programs into their institutions and departments. And I think it depends very much on each one of the institutions. But one of the things is that the higher administration needs to accept and recognize and value this portion of their faculty's activity. Because a lot of times they only look at how many papers have you published, how much grant have you brought in. But we have to remember, institutions of higher education are for education. And mentoring is part of the process, and if the higher administration does not value that, then I wonder what higher education they're going to provide. So I think also the students, as well as people who would like to participate in mentoring or be mentored, need to voice their needs, their desire. If you don't speak up, people are not going to do it because they don't know of the need. So speak up.
I have to agree with that, Dr. Chow. The student body needs, as well as junior faculty, need to voice their desire for a mentoring program. And I think it's something that's overlooked a lot as being an important part of your professional development.
Yeah, and I can mention also is that for our boot camp for new faculty, we had a couple of department chairs approach us from smaller institutions, approach us and ask, can I send one of our faculty, junior faculty or pre-tenure faculty to come and take your boot camp? We said, of course. Just pay for the person's membership.
Okay, we have another question. How does inherent bias affect the mentoring process? Oh, wow, that's a great question, and it's a loaded answer. Inherent bias affects every portion of the mentoring process because...
And life.
And life, yes, absolutely. Because assumptions are made, and usually those assumptions are incorrect, and we act on those assumptions, and that could really disrupt the mentoring process. So just evaluating whether or not you have time for someone or whether you have expertise for someone to mentor them, let's say from the mentor's perspective, you will start evaluating, well, is this person going to put in the work? If I put in all this time, will we see a return come out because my reputation is on the line as well? And if there's an inherent bias of, oh, well, this person doesn't look like they are serious, or if they agree to mentor but have some doubts, and then things happen in the mentee's regular life that inhibits them from fulfilling some of the things that the mentee has suggested, sometimes it might be attributed to these inherent biases that come up. So that's a really good question. Any other comments, Teresa or Dr. Chow?
I think that the very first thing is for everybody to recognize that they will all have some sort of bias. And bias is not only on race, gender, but it's primarily a lot of times in the university, at the socioeconomic situation, and physical disability and sometimes not visible disabilities. And all of us have that sort of biases. We need to recognize that, and there are tests that you can do and you can take to find out where your biases are. And many people who say, I don't have any bias, either they are lying or they're in big denial. So just I encourage everybody to think truthfully about that and do not act on the biases. But you need to recognize it.
Right, and I think everyone on some level has an inherent bias.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of part of how we see our world and how we make sense of it and categorize it. Okay, let's see, another question. A personal experience. I had a mentor who finally took all my ideas and research and worked on my back, and finally he published papers on his own name. How do I deal with it? Now I do not trust anybody. Well, I'll have to say you're not alone with this issue. It unfortunately happens more times than it should. You know, it's sort of how it is. You know,
you want to approach somebody in your department or in your school, in your college, who you feel comfortable, and talk with that person and see what they can recommend, because a lot of these things are more restricted depending on the institution.
Yeah.
Some institutions will take an action and some institutions won't. And you want to talk with somebody within the department or outside, doesn't matter, somebody who you can trust and find out what their advice is. One cannot give a blanket advice here.
Yeah, this is very specific. You know, and there's also in a university setting, there's usually an ombudsman person that you can speak to about it. I don't know how much influence they have, but it does get the problem out there, and it does also flag that advisor, or here you used an interesting word, you called them a mentor, but it sounds like they were an advisor more than a mentor. But that would flag that advisor for any other infractions, you know, of this kind within their department. So that's a way to do it. Unfortunately, with that issue, it's really
delicate.
It's delicate, and at the point where you are with the issue, it's hard to find a correction for it. Most of the advice for this would have come before it had gotten to that point. And namely, you know, getting other mentors, having more than one mentor where you could say, hey, so this is happening, I am sort of confused, I'm not sure what's going on, how do I approach this? And that would have probably helped at the time to avoid, you know, the issue that you've sort of gotten yourself into. But that's really unfortunate, and I would encourage you to talk to your ombuds person or whoever the faculty member in charge of students, you know, is, and just share with them, you know, what you've experienced and how you feel about it, and then see where it goes from there. Okay, another question. You've discussed a lot through mentors available through societies, but do you have suggestions about institutional programs that best support or create opportunities for the mentee-mentor relationship?
I think you can find some of those in NRMN's website.
Yes, definitely.
I don't have any of my head just like that.
No, yeah. NRMN just has a lot of information. However, you do have to sign up for membership to be able to receive all of it.
But it's free.
Beg your pardon?
The membership is free.
So you have to sign up. You have to be a member, but it's a free membership. So, yeah. Okay, let's do another question. Do you have to be a society member to participate in the mentoring activities like boot camp or MARC?
Well, for the boot camp, you need to, because our resources are small. And so we use this as a benefit for our members. Because every year we only take 20 people, We don't charge a penny. We actually can help them and give them a travel grant if they apply for it. But we do have the expenses. So we think that we owe to our members that benefit.
In regards to the FASEB MARC programs, you don't have to be a member, but if you participate through various, from various societies, you can submit your application and you're considered. We also offer travel awards, in which provide trainees the opportunity to attend conferences, but one of the key requirements is that they have to present the research at these various national conferences.
Good, good. Okay, this next question is directed to Dr. Chow. The New Faculty Bootcamp sounds amazing. Would you be willing to share the curriculum? We need to develop a junior faculty, I think it's orientation here at the school level, or maybe spread this great idea to other societies.
We have the agenda for each one of these boot camps posted on our website. So if you go to stvonline.org and search for boot camp, and you see all the 7 boot camps that we have given, and all the agendas have been posted, and some of them even have some of the materials that were used in the courses. So it's open to use, but you can reach out to me and then I can give you some details or additional answers if you need to.
What is the website again?
www.stvonline.org/bootcamp.
And, along with Dr. Chow's program, which I think is amazing, there are some of our societies that also do coaching or group mentoring, which is also an excellent model for undergraduates and graduate students who are a little more intimidated with one-on-one mentoring. So this is also another option to look into. We do have posted with this webinar a poster slide from our Aspect Society on their coaching mentoring program, and they go through how they do it and what they've found. So that might be of interest to look through as well. Okay, so our final question for today, and I would like to thank everyone for all the really interesting questions that you all have provided. Okay, so many early and mid-career faculty are advised to just say no to anything outside of the realm of their own research focus, grant applications, or publications. How can institutions address this challenge in these highly competitive funding times? So that's an excellent question, and Dr. Chow is ready to give you an answer.
Well, because we've been asked many times. And one of the things is, especially if you apply for NSF grants, there is the broadening participation, effect that you need to put into your grant application, and you need to incorporate that into your program. So NSF sees this as an opportunity to encourage everybody, all the grantees, to put into their program something on mentoring, on disseminating their science, into reaching out and broadening the reach of their knowledge of their science to the broader community. And also, I think, is to help to show the administration of these schools, well, some of them are a little bit more bean counters, that mentoring is important, that broadening their action, their activities, the faculty's activities is also important. Yes, the primary thing is research and teaching, but all these other activities help to cement and progress the school's program as well. So I think that the agencies are putting some tools to help, and the main thing also is on tenure and what's that called? Yeah, I forget now those terms. For people to tenure promotion. Tenure promotion committees need to recognize the importance of these activities. And if the reward system is not changed, we're going to be in the same way, same status quo without too much advancement. But I know that national academies, AAAS, HHMI, a lot of these big agencies and societies are encouraging the universities to really change the culture, to encourage more of this, because the population is changing. People don't go to school only for the sake of learning knowledge anymore. They want to see that they can use the knowledge for something. And that is not only learned in the lab pipetting.
Yes, I agree with you. And also, I feel that a lot of universities are now taking action because they're seeing that a lot of the students who pursue careers in science are actually transitioning to different careers in science, like more administrative, going into government, nonprofit, industry, rather than going directly to academia and becoming professors. There's no jobs, but also because of the training that is not being received.
And also, I think that the society is changing, and people are changing. I think we have to evolve with the society. So
mentoring is very important.
At all levels.
Wow. Well, I'd like to thank Dr. Ramirez and Dr. Chow for a wonderful discussion, and for really exposing what you all do. It's excellent, and just helping to stress the importance of mentorship, which I feel like in science we don't really put enough emphasis on. And I'd like to thank all of you who are, with us by webinar or phone call for attending and giving us your time and attention. And we hope that we answered a lot of your questions. If you have additional questions, you can email us here at FASEB. And we just wish all of you a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.